It's time to be smart.
Roland Martin's doing this every day.
Oh, no punches!
Thank you, Roland Martin, for always giving voice to the issues.
Look for Roland Martin in the whirlwind, to quote Marcus Garvey again.
The video looks phenomenal, so I'm really excited to see it on my big screen.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
See, this difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
I got to defer to the brilliance of Dr. Carr and to the brilliance of the Black Star Network.
I am rolling with Roland all the way.
Honored to be on a show that you own. A black man owns the show.
Folks, Black Star Network is here.
I'm real revolutionary right now. Roland was amazing on there.
Stay black. I love y'all.
I can't commend you enough about this platform that you've created for us to be able to share who we are, what we're doing in the world, and the impact that we're having.
Let's be smart. Bring your eyeballs home.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared. You dig? Today is Wednesday, April 13th, 2022. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. Shocking footage out of Grand Rapids, Michigan, showing a cop shooting a black Congolese immigrant in the back of his head while he is facing away from the cop. Attorney Ben Crump did not lie when he said that Patrick Lyoya was shot execution style by police. We have the video, folks. Prepare yourself. The black man suspected of shooting up a New York subway station is in police custody. A new study by Oxfam America reveals that nearly a third of all U.S. workers earn under $15 an hour. The same study says roughly half of all black workers in the U.S. make less than $15. We'll talk to one of the head researchers of Oxfam's study to find out women of color are disproportionately represented in the low-wage workforce. As a Virginia Republican, white dude who is really upset about Delta Sigma Theta. Yeah, seriously. He's actually agreed to come on the show tonight. Oh, y'all know I'm about to have a little fun. Folks, it's been about 6 months since Oklahoma inmate Julius Jones got his death sentence commuted to life in prison without parole. Tonight, his sister, Antoinette, gives us an update on how he is doing. Also, with the prices of groceries spiking, we all want to find the best deals. One Atlanta-based entrepreneur has created an app to help you find the cheapest total for your grocery bill in today's Tech Talk segment. We'll meet the man behind Ziscuit, a grocery search engine to help you find those low prices. Folks, it is time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got it. Whatever the biz, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funky, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Folks, we had Ben Crump on the show a couple days ago telling you about the shooting in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where a Congolese immigrant, Patrick Lyoya, was shot and killed. Folks, just a few hours ago, the body cam footage of that deadly encounter was released to the public. Now, I'm warning everyone right now, before we play the video, it is extremely triggering, and it is graphic. Don't be surprised also, those of you who are watching on YouTube, that YouTube may place a warning on our video requiring you to state that you are an adult. Remember that happened Monday when we had talked about another particular story. Now, Patrick was pulled over for an unknown traffic stop. That was a struggle. He ended up dead, shot in the back of the head. And so I'm going to give you about 30 more seconds if you want to turn away, if you want to come back, if you don't want children to watch this. But this was the story that we talked about with attorney Ben Crump, who's been hired by the family. He said that this body camera footage was going to be released by Friday, It was actually released today, and here it is.
Hey, stay in the car! Stay in the car!
Nelson and Griggs.
One running. North, south.
One running northbound, additional units, Nelson and Griggs. You running around.
Turn me some more cars.
1915, what's your location? What's your location?
Keep rolling video. So folks, again, this is a 7-minute long video. This is the police body cam, this police dash cam video of when they stopped Patrick's car. So we're going to do this here. We're going to have them come back to me. We're going to advance this video. We're going to advance this video and move it forward. And we're going to take you to the point where police exit the vehicle. And then they begin with the encounter with Patrick. So roll it back, folks, roll it back. Right there. Okay, now let's go ahead and play it from there.
We're addressing one more. 1625, 10-4 addressing one more.
This is video from the Grand Rapids police officer's body-worn camera.
Hey, stay in the car! Stay in the car! Stay in the car! Get in the car! Dude, I'm stopping you. Do you have a license? Do you have a license?
What?
I'm stopping you. Do you have a license?
What does?
Do you have a driver's license? Do you speak English?
Yes.
Can I see your license?
What does it want?
The plate doesn't belong in this car. Do you have a license or no? Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Where is it at?
It's in the car.
Get it for me.
What does it want?
The plate does not belong in this car.
Right there.
No. Stop. Put your hands up. Stop. 1915. Got one running. North, south. Stop.
The video cuts off there. This video, the body camera footage cuts off there. This is the video that a civilian shot of the same encounter.
This is the entire video obtained from a third-party cell phone recording.
Yeah. Now you say he's good, but man, yo, what's up, man?
Stop. Okay. Stop resisting.
No, he's good. You're not resisting nothing, bro. Okay, why you gotta do all that, bro? He good, man.
That was the sound of a taser discharging.
Let's call the taser. Let's call the taser.
No, like he good. Like you can talk to him, bro. Yeah. Like he good, bro. Like can you talk to him like good? Like can you? Yeah. Stop grabbing him like that. No, he good like for. Yo, you hear him too.
Let's call the taser.
No, he ain't grabbing no taser. I see that.
Let's call the taser. Drop the taser.
Should have given more warning, but this is the second point where the fatal gunshot will be heard.
Yo, you hear him too.
Let's call the taser.
No, he ain't grabbing no taser. I see that.
Let's call the taser.
See the fatal gunshot in 10 seconds.
Drop the taser. Get back. Get back! 1915. I was just involved in shooting. Nelson Grant. I'm Nelson.
Patrick is 26 years old. The governor of Michigan is promising for there to be an independent investigation of what took place in this case here. I want to bring in my panel right now. Again, it is always difficult when we have to play one of these videos, and it's hard for us to do that. But the reality is, if we don't cover these stories, then the question is, who will? Joining us right now is Dr. Jason Nichols, Senior Lecturer for African American Studies at University of Maryland, College Park. In a moment, we're going to be joined by Tanya Washington Hicks, Professor at Georgia State University College of Law, and also Monique Presley, Crisis Manager and Lawyer. Jason, here's the thing we keep hearing, Jason. It happens all the time. The number of black men who were killed because of basic traffic stops. You go from you have the wrong plate to being dead.
Yeah, I initially didn't watch that video when your producer sent me the video because I knew it was going to be gruesome. It was incredibly troubling. The idea that you would, first of all, have to shoot that young man in the back of the head. Of all the places you can shoot someone, in order to disable them, to keep them. He never had a lethal weapon on him. He said he was grabbing the taser, not his service revolver, but a taser. And yet you had to shoot him execution style in the back of the head. I'm beginning to think you can't train people out of that. I'm beginning to think that this is a much larger systemic issue than all of the things that we point to about training and citizens' reviews. This has to do with white supremacy at large. And in order for us to be able to challenge that, there need to be deep systemic changes. You know, I wasn't expecting quite to be as emotionally affected by that as I was, because we've seen so much Black death over the past 5 years that sometimes, unfortunately, you get almost used to seeing it. But that was so troubling to see a man get shot in the back of the head when he is on his stomach because he had his hands on a taser, which is a non-lethal weapon. That's what they tell us all the time, that these tasers aren't going to kill you, that it's a non-lethal weapon. The fact that he would be shot in the back of the head is just beyond the pale, Roland. I wasn't expecting to be as affected by that as I was.
Tanya, I think we know what's going to happen here. They're going to say he was resisting. He ran away. Cop tried to take him down. Taser was ineffective. He had no choice but to pull his gun. But the problem that we're now dealing with is the same thing again. Minor traffic stops end with Black men being shot and killed. And it happens over and over again. That's why some police departments have said, stop stopping people over bullshit, minor things like, oh, a tail light out, or you had the wrong license plate.
Right. I mean, it's interesting, Roland, you said YouTube might censor the video because it's triggering and traumatizing, but we're living this experience. So watching is so much worse. I mean, living it is so much worse than watching it. I couldn't even watch that part with the fatal shot. It was so disturbing. I hope that police officers will take seriously policy changes where we stop pulling people over for minor infractions, because we don't have police officers who understand the difference between the use of force when their lives are actually threatened and the use of force simply because people will not comply with commands that do not put the officers' lives in danger. This is terrorism. That's what this is. And what people need to understand is people's reaction to the police pulling them over, Black people's reaction to the police pulling them over, is informed by incidents like this, like the murder of George Floyd. We are afraid of the police, so it's reasonable for him to run. And the response should not be the use of lethal force.
And Jason, that is what, again, we keep seeing. We keep seeing whether it's something dangling from a windshield, from a rearview mirror. We saw that happen in Wisconsin. Remember Walter Scott when he was shot and killed, something dealing with a tail light. I mean, some police chiefs have actually said no more minor traffic stops. If you're going to be a cop and you're doing the job, look, we got all these people complaining about crime in America. Okay, there's serious crime. Having the wrong license plate, that's a waste of damn resources.
I agree. And the thing is, when Black people, and particularly working class Black people, get stopped, it's actually another tax. You know, we know going back to Ferguson that was the way that they funded their entire government. It was the second leading source of revenue were these minor traffic stops, pulling people over, finding reasons to pull them over and give them minor tickets. So if I can ticket you for $70 here or $40 there, and you don't want to go through with a trial, then, that's a way of extracting revenue and taxing the poor rather than taxing the wealthy, because in a lot of wealthy areas, people don't get pulled over for stuff like that. So again, this is, systemic It goes to so many different issues. But with a lot of that even, going on, there's no way that should have escalated to deadly force. And, I think that there are a lot of things in terms of why he didn't have a partner. I think there are a lot of issues that we could talk about. But either way, that should not have escalated to him shooting a man in the back of the head.
And you're already seeing, Tanya, how they're framing it. A lengthy fight, a lengthy confrontation with the police officer. Look, we know based upon previous shootings what FOP is going to say. Hey, folks, don't resist. Obey officers' commands. If this guy, Patrick, had done those things, he wouldn't be dead. And we are so used to what their response is going to be. And look, I'll say it right now. It would not shock me at all if the district attorney simply says the officer was within his right to defend himself, to subdue the suspect. I mean, this is how this system is set up to allow cops to get away with this. But again, I go back to, if you stopping people for silly minor traffic violations, you don't end up with death. You don't end up with a family having to bury their loved one.
Absolutely. And they can't say that had he not resisted arrest, it would not have ended in death. They can't say that because there are too many examples where the person was compliant or asleep or eating ice cream on their own sofa, and it ended in death. So you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. We need different policies to stop this at the outset from even initiating an encounter that can escalate to the point where someone is shot in the back of the head. But we need to examine when police are authorized to use lethal force. It should not be in every encounter with a citizen. These police officers are paid by the citizens they are authorized to serve. And they are terrorizing our neighborhoods and our people.
Indeed, they are. Folks, we'll be joined by attorney Ben Crump on tomorrow to discuss this particular case. Got to go to a break. We come back. We're going to talk about the income inequality in this country. Black women, black men, what they are making far less when it comes to $15 an hour. So when you hear the fight for a living wage, why aren't more states moving to actually make that happen? We'll discuss next. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, download our app. Of course, our goal is to get 50,000 downloads by May 1st. Of course, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. And of course, please join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible for us to do what we do. So you can send a check or money order to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com. So let me give a shout out to Brenda Washington. Thank you very much, Brenda, for joining our Bring the Funk fan club. And so, yeah, y'all see, I went and checked the mailbox. So I appreciate that. And so I'm going to read this here. Come back to me, please. Thank you very much. So here we go, y'all. This is from Pantherina. Okay, Pantherina, I can't read your writing. So let me see if your name was on your check. I want to give you the right shout out. Pantherina Fields, the Parthenia Fields. So she says, thank you for providing sunshine through the rain. You truly are a blessing. We appreciate you sending the card as well as joining our Bring the Funk fan club. I'm going to open up some more of these throughout the show. And those of you who give during the show, of course, I'll give you a shout out as well. And so if you give Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle, again, I'll shout your name out live on the show. I'll be right back.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, you'll learn how wealth begins at home. and how it can set the right path and the right course.
Wealth building, specifically in the Black community, is about making sure that we have assets that can last beyond our lifetime.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
When did you know that this is what I wanted to do?
I think right after high school, because in high school I was in all the plays, but I was always funny, but I didn't know nobody would pay me for it, you know? And then I saw Eddie Murphy. This was like '84 when I saw Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was the hottest thing in the whole wide world, not just comedy, but anywhere. He saved Saturday Night Live. If he hadn't starred in that show would be gone. He had done 48 Hours, Trading Places, his first Beverly Hills Cop, could wear the hell out of a red leather suit, and he wasn't but 23 years old. He was rich enough to pee cream, and he got all that telling jokes. I said, shit, I've been funny my whole life. I didn't know people give you money like that, so I went and got some Red Fox albums. I went down to my mama's basement where I was living anyway, and I stood in that mirror and played them albums and them jokes until I could tell them like they was mad.
Wow.
And that started me doing jokes, and then I went and did comedy in the street. I was standing on State Street, tell jokes and pass my hat, and white folks would come up and just hand me money, and I liked it.
What's up, y'all? I'm Will Packer.
Everybody, it's your man Fred Hammond.
Hi, my name is Brescia Webb, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. And, well, I like a nice filter usually, but we can be unfiltered.
All right, folks, we talk a lot of time about income inequality on this show. And it really is one of the biggest issues that we're facing in this country. All this talk right now you hear about inflation, about the rising grocery prices and gas prices and on and on and on. But this really impacts the working poor in America. And then you have the people who act as if these folks are just out here just blowing off and not even focused on their jobs. You hear people say, oh, folks are lazy and what are they doing and why aren't they working harder? When the reality is we saw during COVID the frontline workers. We saw what it means when they're the ones who are working transportation jobs, the ones who are in grocery stores, the ones who are working in restaurants. It's amazing how COVID caused a lot of people to finally pay attention to the individuals who are in these particular jobs. We cannot overlook this very issue. We cannot overlook what it means, the job that they're doing and how they're not being properly paid for these jobs. And so you have had this fight for a very long time to properly fund the working poor. Many of the jobs that we have in this country, a lot of them are African American. Yes, nearly half of black workers in America make less than $15 an hour. A new report by Oxfam America found that 47% of black workers and 70% of women of color earn less than $15 an hour. 26% of white workers and 32% of all American workers earn less than $15 an hour. To explain more about the Oxfam American study, Dr. Caitlin Henderson, Senior Research Advisor for Oxfam, joins us from D.C. Caitlin, glad to have you on Roland Martin Unfiltered. So put this in perspective for us. Where are most, when we talk about black workers and we talk about the 70% women of color, what states, what regions of the country are they largely in?
Well, as might not be so surprising, overwhelmingly, black workers who are making less than $15 an hour are concentrated in the South, which is to say there is a higher proportion of black workers in the South making less than $15 an hour than any other part of the country. This has everything to do with occupational segregation. This has everything to do with where people are living in this country, quite literally. So as you see on the map, the darker the color, the higher the proportion of workers who are making less than 15. And overwhelmingly, we see those darker colors really showing up in the South.
And what's interesting about that, when the federal government was providing relief, unemployment relief, in all these southern states, people like Lindsey Graham in South Carolina, oh, these people got to get back to work. where people were actually making more unemployment than they were in their actual jobs. But Graham said nothing about that. They were complaining that people, they're lazy, need to get back to work, but they were making more unemployment. And I kept telling people, that's a problem that you're making more money on unemployment than you are in your actual job.
100%. And one of the other reasons that we see such a high proportion in the South is because these are states that have not lifted their own minimum wage above the federal minimum. So the federal minimum wage is $7.25. It has not moved in 13 years. And during that time, it has lost 21% of its value. And that is, for the most part in the South, the minimum wage, which is to say nothing of tipped wage workers, such as restaurant workers that make even less. And as we know, tipped wage workers, service industry workers, are also disproportionately people of color, and especially women of color. So when we have certain senators, especially representing states in the South, talking about how people need to get back to work, the truth is people need to be paid more.
And one of the things that they kept saying is like, oh, no, we can't pay them more. Businesses are going to shut down. They're going to go out of business. This is going to be just so unfair on the companies. When you start breaking down these numbers and when you see 70% of women of color earning less than $15 an hour, and then folks wonder, then the same people yell and complain about, you always want handouts and government assistance, when the reality is, if you actually run the numbers, most of these southern states, almost a majority of their funding, or half of it, comes from the federal government.
Yeah, what's crazy is there's a lot to say about that. So what we know, there's a lot of data that a higher minimum wage actually helps small businesses. So the idea that raising the wage is going to hurt these businesses is not true. In fact, the minimum wage was literally created during the New Deal under President Roosevelt in order to give people buying power to help restart the economy. So this is in 1938. So the entire reason we even have a minimum wage is in order to help small businesses. So of course, a higher wage is in fact helping small businesses. But yeah, like what you're talking about, 50% of women of color in this country make less than $15 an hour. And again, this has everything to do with occupational segregation. This has to do with the legacy of minimum wages that when they were invented excluded Black workers, because very specific workers were excluded from minimum wages, such as domestic workers, agricultural workers, and restaurant workers, who in the 1930s, of course, were Black workers, especially in the South. So there's a long legacy here. This has everything to do with the legacy of racism and sexism in this country, and we're seeing the echoes of that even today.
Well, and on that particular point, it was laughable because the very states that cut that unemployment insurance, when they were looking at the economic recovery, the places where they were losing money, it was slower than other places, were those same southern states. Well, if you cut the money, folks had less money to spend.
Absolutely. And, if you think about it, those are also the states that don't have a higher tip minimum wage. Those are the states that have not expanded Medicaid. Those are the states that don't have paid leave. So if you get sick, you lose your job. There are so many reasons why we need the federal government to really step up and raise the bar, because in certain states, there is not the political will to do so themselves. So this is an opportunity for the federal government, not only to raise the minimum wage, but to sort of expand the social safety net even broader. COVID showed us how important that is. And as you said at the beginning of this segment, a lot of the workers that were the most impacted by these wage policies that are making less than $15 an hour were considered essential continue to be essential due to the pandemic, and were very recently celebrated as our heroes, these same workers. And yet somehow we have chosen in this country that we don't want to pay our heroes. So we really need to reassess what we value.
Questions from our panel. Tanya, you're first.
Yeah, so the numbers in your study, and I really appreciate you all bringing this research to light, show that there's a certain percentage of women of color who are paid less than minimum wage. What percentage of Black women workers are paid less than minimum wage? And what are the implications for children when women are not paid equitably?
Yeah, so the implications are huge. Let me start with the implications for women, and then we can break it down a little bit further. So when women are not paid an appropriate wage, and frankly, We are focused on $15, who makes less than $15 an hour in this study, because there is a fight for 15. As we know, the current legislation in front of Congress is looking at a $15 minimum wage. So we wanted to see who are the people that were going to be impacted by this. So that's why we chose $15 an hour is not a living wage in a lot of places. It is sort of the bar that we would like to see set. But when women are not paid an appropriate amount, then of course it's impacting children. In fact, there's some 57% of single parents are making less than $15 an hour, which essentially means that these are individuals who are having given inflation, are having a hard time keeping a roof over their heads, food on their table, and certainly cannot be affording childcare, which is one of the most expensive and underfunded things in this country. And so essentially what we're saying is that we don't value the individuals who they can't afford childcare, and yet they need to go to work. So of course, there are children who are falling through the cracks, and that's why there's been so much need on schools to provide everything for everyone, and also why so many people are relying on extended family members for childcare, because they don't make enough to even afford childcare. So we are doing a disservice to our children by not paying all workers more, but especially working parents and working mothers.
Jason.
Yes, Dr. Henderson, thank you for your really important work. I'm wondering what you say to people who say, I have several questions, but I'll try to make it simple here. What do you say to people that say that by raising the minimum wage that we are going to hasten automation and that a lot of these jobs are going to disappear? And the second part of that question is also, what do you say to the right-wing pundits who say that $15 is not a good baseline because the cost of living in South Carolina or in Alabama is not quite there, that you could actually have a lower minimum wage than 15? What do you say to those people? And you'll be giving me some talking points, so I'm excited to hear your response.
Well, first of all, before she answers that question, I would say to those same damn people, how much are they making? I would also ask those very same people, how have you actually run the numbers? What you ought to do is get a calculator, Jason, and say, okay, let's say now, Doc, you said, Caitlin, you said the minimum wage in a lot of these states. How much is it?
$7.25.
So, Jason, what you do is get a big ass calculator and go, 30 hours a week times $7.25 comes out to $217.50 times 4. 270 times 4 comes out to be $870. So please, y'all, tell me, how can a worker, somebody who spends 120 hours a month working and makes $870, please tell me, how do you pay for rent? How do you pay for food? How do you pay for diapers? How do you pay for daycare? How do you pay for transportation with $870? Force them to do the math, Jason. Caitlin, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, not at all. That's exactly right. And I think the question of automation is a good one. So the industries that are the fastest growing industries in this country are in the care sector. So elder care, care for people with disabilities, child care, and those are all things that cannot be automated.
Yep.
And those are all professions that are notably underpaid, and in fact, on average, make less than $15 an hour, especially childcare workers. So the question about automation doesn't really apply to some of the fastest growing sectors in this country. They cannot be automated. And so there's one answer for sure, and those are low wage workers. And then the other question that you had, of course, now I'm sort of spacing on what the other question was. Can you remind me what the second question was besides automation?
It was that the cost of living may be
that some places, and in fact, I've heard some black civil rights people say that, Jason, that that instead of 15, in some places like Mississippi, it could be 11 or 12. It doesn't have to be 15.
Okay, so thank you. That's a great other question. So the truth is that right now, so $15 an hour is the equivalent of $31,200 a year. But we are at a moment in this country where inflation is at a 4-decade high. And so $31,200 a year for a full-time worker at $15 an hour is still not enough to afford housing and food and gas right now. and still get to work. So number one, cost of living has gone up everywhere because of inflation. And so in fact, $15 an hour is a baseline. And if you want a few more resources, our wonderful partners at the Economic Policy Institute just released a family cost calculator. And you can literally see what it costs for a family, either an individual or a family, someone with children, how much it costs them to live based on the county. And I believe that there is not a single county in this country where you can live on $15 an hour, except for maybe one. And if I recall, it wasn't even the South. So the truth is that you need $15 an hour at minimum to, in fact, live. It doesn't matter where you live. And I want to return to one of the other questions that was asked by the panel that I realized I did not answer. We don't have data that's specific to Black women. We have data specific to women of color. So we wanted to look at the cross section, not just of one race, but women of color more broadly. So I don't have the numbers exactly for Black women. We have the numbers for Black workers and then women of color, which includes Black women, Hispanic Latino women, Asian American women, Native American women as well. And so it's a little bit of a broader cross section, but really the point is that we are facing a continuation of not only a gender wage gap, but a racialized gender wage gap. And it really brings that intersectionality to mind that Kimberly Crenshaw helpfully gave us, which is absolutely crucial when we're talking about policy realities. And we need to do more for women of color in this country.
Well, again, it's amazing when you listen to all of the excuses that people offer who don't understand. Last thing here, Caitlin, do this for the people who do not understand. Explain to them this whole issue with the restaurants and the tipping. That actually is one of the legacies of the late Herman Cain.
Well, so restaurant workers were originally completely excluded from the minimum wage. They were not included in any type of minimum wage until the 1960s. And even then there was a sub-minimum wage, which is referred to as the tipped wage. And that's what most people in the restaurant industry make, which is to say the servers, anyone who receives a tip for their work, they are only given a sub-minimum wage. The federal standard right now is $2.13 an hour. It has not moved since 1991, which is a shocking poverty wage. The other thing that we know about restaurant workers, tipped workers in general, is that is an industry that is disproportionately occupied by women, especially women of color, and is disproportionately experiences things like sexual harassment and sexual assault in the workplace. It is a super problematic industry that is extremely underpaid. But one of the things to remember is this fight for $15 was actually started in 2012 by restaurant workers. A lot of restaurant workers are the ones who are part of this great resignation, demanding better wages, demanding better pay, better treatment. And COVID is one of the things that sort of pushed it over the edge. So one of the things we really want to do is honor and celebrate the workers who banded together and are demanding better treatment for themselves. And in a lot of cases, really successfully. I'm thinking of all of the Starbucks workers that have gotten unions coming together. Really want to celebrate the Amazon workers in New York as well. But the legacy of tipped wages and tipping in this country is extremely problematic. There's a wonderful op-ed by Michelle Alexander in the New York Times from over the summer about how tipping is in many ways a legacy of slavery, and again disproportionately impacts women of color in this country, and especially Black women. So it is something we need to stop doing. We need to completely get rid of tipped wages, which is also known as sub-minimum wages. We need to lift every single worker in this country to a single universal minimum wage, and then we need to lift that wage to starting at $15. It's the very least we can do.
All right, then. Well, look, tell people where they can actually see the study and read it for themselves.
Absolutely. The study can be found at oxfamamerica.org/low wage report 2022. And if you want to take a look at the map, which includes an interactive place where you can click on your state and see how the state is doing in terms of people making less than 15, it is www.oxfamamerica.org/low wage map 2022.
All right, then. Caitlin Henderson, Dr. Caitlin Henderson, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thanks so much.
All right, folks. In a moment, more on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Let me do this here. Uncle Roland, my mom, Julene Caraway, is 89 years old, and we have watched your show for years. She loves you and your truth-telling and stories. She asked me to donate to support you in continuing to tell our stories and representing our heritage. We love you. We pray for you daily. God continue to bless you, Cheryl Lee Davis. So Cheryl, I thank your 89-year-old mama for watching the show. I keep telling y'all don't be ignoring the mamas. So Cheryl, I appreciate this donation here. Let's see here. To whom it may concern, enclosed check for $50. Bring the Funk Fan Club. Let's see. Second time I have donated. We appreciate it. Let's see here. Rosalind Fluker Powell. Rosalind, I appreciate it. First of all, Rosalind asked about perks. First of all, Rosalind, folks who donate, they're the only ones who get to call into our show when we take phone calls. Also, you have a discount when it comes to buying our pocket squares and also books and other items. So, Rosalind, we do not have your email. For those of you, if you have not gotten your code, your promo code for the fan club, send us an email. Just simply go to RolandSMartin.com. Send an email to info@RolandSMartin.com, and we'll be sure to send the email out to you. And so, Rosalind Fluker, if you can do that, Rosalind got on her phone number. She's like, leave a voicemail. And so I appreciate that. I'm going to open up 2 more before I go to break. Folks, y'all can support us. Again, P.O. Box. And I also thank one of our viewers who hit me up, who said that the mail gets to us faster. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. -0196. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Diana Jefferson, I appreciate your support of our Bring the Funk fan club. I appreciate it. I'm going to open up 1 more before I go to the break. I told y'all, these are all the folk who say, look, they don't trust all that electronic stuff. They want to be old school. And some of y'all, they got the envelope. They got the envelope in the envelope. They making me do some work here. I should have Jason on the set helping me open these envelopes. Let's see here. Yvonne Magwood. I appreciate you supporting the show. Folks, thanks a bunch. Let's go to, and let's see here. Jean Gary Olivier. I see you just gave on Cash App. I'll give you a shout out as well. Again, if you give during the show, you get a personal shout out from me. I'll be right back.
We're all impacted by the culture, whether we know it or not. From politics to music and entertainment, it's a huge part of our lives, and we're going to talk about it every day right here on The Culture with me, Faraji Muhammad, only on the Black Star Network.
On the next A Balanced Life, the Bible says that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. After 2 years of hunkering down, we can all relate to that. Spring, sun, and fun. We may be ready to get out there, but our bodies may not be ready to party. On the next A Balanced Life, we're going to get our mind, body, and spirit on the same page. That's A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on the Black Star Network.
Carl Payne pretended to be Roland Martin. Holla!
You are watching Roland Martin, and I'm on his show today, and it's what? Huh? You should have some cue cards.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy Jacob Lattimore, and you're now watching Roland Martin right now.
All right, folks. In November, many of us rejoiced when Oklahoma inmate Julius Jones evaded execution after the governor, Kevin Stitt, granted him clemency. Under the governor's decision, Jones' sentence was reduced to life without parole. Again, life without parole conviction. However, the fight for justice for the Jones family continues. Julius says that he did not commit this crime. To share any updates on his ongoing legal battle, Antoinette Jones. She is the sister of Julius Jones. She's here in D.C. Antoinette, glad to have you here. So first and foremost, for the people who are unfamiliar with the story, just give us a synopsis of how we got to this point.
So how we got to this point is basically Julius was convicted of murdering Mr. Paul Skyhowl in 1999. Well, in 2000. But so we fast forward 22 years. He got a defense team with Amanda Bass and Dale Bass, who basically was his last resort. He had expired all of his appeals, and we got a commutation, which was the first ever in the state for a death row inmate that had not received a death sentence, a scheduled execution date. So he received the commutation. The Pardon and Parole Board voted 3-1 in favor of Julius with life with the possibility of parole. Then in I want to say November the 1st, he got a clemency hearing, which he ended up getting the execution date a week after getting the 3-1 vote. And so he ended up getting a clemency, which happened November the 1st of 2021. And let me slow down. And so the Pardon and Parole Board voted 3-1 again, life with the possibility of parole. And so on November the 18th of 2021, our honorable governor, Kevin Stitt, he stopped the execution 4 hours before he stopped the execution for a scheduled execution, but he put an executive order that he could not apply ever again for a commutation. And so now we have gotten him moved to the correctional facility that he wants to go to. So how he's doing is he's transitioning. It's been a hard transition, a hard road, but he is adjusting to the new situation of now not being on death row or death watch. But now he is just he's there for life right now, and so we're fighting to make sure we can get him out, get his freedom. And so our fight right now is to work on voter registration, civic engagement, voting rights. We have 3 important running elections, race elections coming up, which is the governor's race, the district attorney's race, the attorney general's race. Those are 3 important races. And we are definitely trying to get the community, the state of Oklahoma, to be a part of voting and to speak up. Because if I'm not mistaken, only 4% of voters in the state of Oklahoma vote. So we need to up that.
And again, so you still have the prosecution opposing every step along the way for Julius.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a long journey, but our next steps are his lawyers are weighing their legal options, and so that's been very tough for Julius to process that. And every second of every day, I can't even imagine the nightmare that he's going through.
Indeed. Well, look, we certainly appreciate you sharing this with us. Keep us up to date on what happens next in his case.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so very much. All right, so folks, time for Black and Missing. Thirty-four-year-old Mark Brown Jr. has been missing for about 2 months from Chicago. He's 6 feet tall, weighs 175 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Mark's family last heard from him on February 27th. Anyone with information about the 34-year-old Mark Brown Jr. should please call Chicago, Illinois Special Victims Unit at 312-747-8380, 8380. Folks, the man New York police say is responsible for shooting up a Brooklyn subway station is now in custody.
My fellow New Yorkers, we got him. We got him. I cannot thank the men and women of the New York City Police Department enough, as well as our federal agents, our state police, our first responders, from the 9/11 operators to the various men and women from our medical professions. We got him. It said to New Yorkers, we want to protect the people of this city and apprehend those who believe they can bring terror to everyday New York.
Frank James was arrested earlier today in Manhattan and charged with a federal terrorism offense. Now, police initially called James a person of interest. Nearly 30 people were taken to the hospital after Tuesday morning's shooting. This is video that police say is James swiping his card in the subway station. You see him wearing that yellow hard hat and also that orange jacket. Now, again, they said that a device was thrown in and then also that shots were also fired. There's been no indication to say exactly what happened, why this was the case. You heard the mayor there, Eric Adams, saying, we got him, but we still don't know exactly what was the cause of it. They've covered all kind of other social media posts with all kinds of wild and crazy statements made, also about black people as well. That was stated. It's very interesting. Y'all just keep rolling the video. I'm gonna go to Jason first because you know, Jason, you have a show on Fox Nation, correct?
No.
I'm sorry. The Daily Caller, same thing. Same thing.
Yes.
Same thing. The Daily Caller was started by Tucker Carlson. Daily Caller, same as Fox News. They ain't no different.
He doesn't own it anymore.
I said it was started by. I know he doesn't own it anymore. I said it was started by Tucker Carlson.
That is true.
Jesse Waters, who's on Fox News, said something stupid yesterday by saying, oh, yeah, that black people were not going to be talking about this story because this is a black suspect who supposedly was targeting Asians. And Jesse made that comment, no factual basis whatsoever doing so. Now we find out, hell, this man dogged black people.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if you're looking for intelligent commentary, I wouldn't suggest going to Jesse Waters.
Or Fox News, but go ahead.
Or Fox News, but especially Jesse. But I would say, you know, and obviously he was looking at Colin Ferguson, I think it was, who targeted Asians, but there was no, you know, there's no evidence of that here. We don't know the motive. This guy obviously has all kinds of issues, and they really need to comb through and interrogate him and find out what the motivation for this attack was. But to come out and just start throwing darts in the air and saying black people won't talk about it when there are all those black people who ride the N train, who are on those, you know, those trains and use the subway, because black people don't get cars that drive them everywhere like people that work at Fox News do. They get town cars that drive them everywhere. Black people, like the people that Dr. Henderson was talking about earlier, they ride the train. They operate the train. They do all of those things. So to say that black people wouldn't talk about it or wouldn't be terrified by what happened and sweep it under the rug because it was a black person, this is obviously someone who doesn't know black people. You know, I think black people are concerned with their safety like anybody else, and it doesn't matter that the person is black.
You know, it's wild to look at this craziness, Monique, who now joins us from the car. It is wild to continue to just see this. I mean, there are mentally disturbed people in this country, and it was utterly ridiculous again to listen to these deranged Fox people go, yeah, oh, it's a black guy, so yeah, the black people, y'all not gonna say anything about him. No, you're just an idiot. You're an idiot. And not only that, we've had a number of mass shootings in America, every month over the last multiple years. It's amazing how Fox News picks and chooses which mass shooting they decide that's important.
Oh, muted. You're muted.
Monique?
I think you're muted.
You have a substitute, Scott. Congratulations, brother. You talk when ain't nobody talking to you. I love you. Roland, I didn't know what the question was.
The question is, when you talk about this shooting here, we're talking about Frank James. It's amazing how the white grievance network automatically goes to black people not gonna say nothing because this is a black man targeting Asians, when there's nothing from cops to suggest Asians were targeted, nothing at all. But again, they'll go to that white fear line every time.
That's fine. I heard everything you said, but my question is, has anybody died?
Nope, no one died as a result of this shooting.
So then that's the answer, right?
No, it's not the answer. Bottom line is, if you still shot.
No, it is the answer. It is the answer.
What do you mean? Explain.
Because multiple people, everybody would be dead, right? Because it isn't what we do. I'm gonna be real unpopular, and I'm gonna go out on a limb because I'm late and I'm in the car. But mass shootings, killing everybody is, except for business related, it's not what we do. And we don't do it and mess it up where we meant to kill everybody and we didn't. The fact that nobody is dead is an obvious factor to me that, yes, we did do it because everybody is alive. Now what?
Okay, you still got to explain that one. Because...
Is everybody laughing?
Yes, they have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Roland, it's obvious. When mass shooters, we are worried about people between 17, almost 18, and 25 who are white males. When it's black people, either we are involved in drug trade, business-related skirmishes. It's turf wars, or we don't kill people. And so people saying it was a black man, to me, I'm saying, yeah, but it's not Emmanuel 9, it's not Boston bombers, it's not Oklahoma, it's not World Trade Centers, because that's not what we do. Do you understand me? Like, if he had meant to kill everybody, he would have.
What you're dealing with, Tanya, again, the white grievance network that loves to stoke the racial buttons, the racial embers. We know what the game is being played. What we're dealing with here, we know so far, you're dealing with somebody with a mental problem. And at some point in this country, when you have these states, Texas, Georgia, just signing a bill into law, just allowing folks to now carry concealed weapons, no permit, under the guise of, it's going to make us safer. You're talking about making it even more harder to stop these mass shootings because of mental illness, and people in this nation don't want to confront mental illness, Tanya.
I agree. And I'm here in Georgia. The bill was just signed into law yesterday that allows people to obtain and carry concealed weapons without a license. And, I think, unfortunately, we're going to see more of these kinds of shootings. I agree with Monique that there is a profile for these kind of shootings, but that profile seems to be changing, right? So we are seeing some Black folks engaging in this kind of widespread violence. Now, the comments by those at Fox News were irresponsible, irrelevant, and not real journalism. I mean, why would we not talk about this event that shut the city down for an entire day until they brought the suspect in? Of course, we're going to talk about it. Black people talk about Black people all the time. And so that observation was just nonsensical to me.
Well, yeah, and that's exactly.
Roland, did you moved on for me? Did you just move on for me and not address my point?
What point?
The point that my sister was trying to affirm me, but you won't. A Black man knows how to kill people if he's trying to kill people. That's not what we do. We are not mass murderers. We are not.
Okay, actually, first of all, there have been mass shootings that have taken. Oh my God, it's a fact. There have been mass shootings that have involved African Americans. What are the
statistics on those?
Hold up, you asked me to address. I'm addressing what you said. Now, what you're talking about when you talk about an FBI profile and when they lay out in terms of who typically is involved in these type of mass shootings. So I understand that particular point. The fact of the matter is, this person was African American. What I am suggesting, it is wrong for someone to jump to a conclusion as to who he was targeting, why he was targeting them, when until he was captured today, we didn't know who actually did it. And that's part of the problem. So 1 second, I'm still talking. I'm still talking. So when you have the folks like a Jesse B. Waters stoking the racial fires, we know exactly what that's all about. And this notion that somehow people are not going to talk about it because the shooter was Black is kind of dumb, because we've discussed these type of things before. It happens. It ain't the first time. It won't be the last time. But that's also what you're getting. Because what people need to understand, what we're still operating in, I keep saying this, and people can deny all they want to, is what we're still operating in. We're operating in a world where you have folks like over Fox News. They love pushing the white fear. That's what they're doing. And so we have to still confront the reality of what these folks are doing, so it's no shock at all. Got to go to a break. Let me do this here. When we come back, a Republican in Virginia was bothered when he saw a photo of a group of Black women taking a photo of the White House. Then he found out they're members of Delta Sigma Theta. He's bothered by their hand signals and who are they? And oh my God, they're taking over the government. Well, that Republican is going to join us next to have that conversation. Maybe he's going to learn about who the Divine Nine is and what we do. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Don't forget, folks, to download the Black Star Network app. Available on all platforms: Apple TV, Android TV, Apple phone, Android phone, Roku, Amazon Fire, Xbox, Samsung Smart TV. You can also, of course, join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar you give goes to support this show. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App is $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland@RolandSMartin.com. Roland@RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Let's see here. Shout out to Grace Bryant. Hello, this is a donation. Please fill in my check. Thank you very much, and good luck. Grace, I appreciate that. And then this is from Henry Jackson. Let me open up Henry's card here. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy. Marcel Proust. Thanks for all you do. Power to you, from Henry Jackson. Henry, I appreciate you joining our Bring the Funk fan club as well. I'm open up one more before I go to a break. And let's see here. Who is this from? Again, these are the folks who are old school, who mail their stuff in. They don't want to use that Cash App stuff. Thank you for educating me on a lot of things that I was ignorant about. And thanks for your panel and guests. Keep telling the truth, and we the people will stay focused. Antonio Douglas from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Antonio, I appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. We'll be right back.
When did you know that this is what I want to do?
I think right after high school, because in high school I was in all the plays. Well, I was always funny, but I didn't know nobody would pay me for it, you know. And then I saw Eddie Murphy. This was like '84 when I saw Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was the hottest thing in the whole wide world. Not just comedy, But anyway, he saved Saturday Night Live. If he hadn't started that show would be gone. He had done 48 Hours, Trading Places. His first Beverly Hills Cop, could wear the hell out of a red leather suit, and he wasn't but 23 years old. He was rich enough to pee cream, and he got all that telling jokes. I said, shit, I've been funny my whole life. I didn't know people give you money like that, so I went and got some Red Fox albums. I went down to my mama's basement where I was living anyway, and I stood in that mirror and played them albums and them jokes until I could tell them like they was mad.
Wow.
And that started me doing jokes, and then I went and did comedy in the street. I was standing on State Street, tell jokes and pass my hat, and white folks would come up and just hand me money, and I liked it.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Black Star Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Black Star Network.
My name is Charlie Wilson.
Hi, I'm Sally Richardson Whitfield.
And I'm Dondre Whitfield. Hey, everybody, this is your man, Fred Hammond, and you're watching Roland Martin, my man, Unfiltered.
All right, folks, so you never know how you might be surprised when reading social media. So imagine when my wife, Jackie, member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, shared with me this particular tweet from a Republican in Loudoun County in Virginia, Scott Pyle. So Scott sent this tweet out because this photo right here, remember Friday we were at the White House when Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, at the celebration there, her being confirmed as the first black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. Well, Scott saw this photo. It was a posting of Keisha Lance Bottoms. Y'all go to who was the former mayor of Atlanta. She said, calling all Deltas to the floor at the White House as we celebrate the confirmation of Judge and soon-to-be Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson. Well, Scott said Skull and Bones has lost their power. It's now the sorority known as Delta Sigma Theta who is taking control of our country at all levels of government. Even the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors chairman is a Delta. Well, and then you also had other folks who then began to chime in, including State Senator Louise Lucas. And then folks at Blue Virginia said, seriously, where does Governor VA find these fools represent him? The Loudoun County GOP chair claims that the sorority known as Delta Sigma Theta is taking control of our country at all levels of government. And so Scott then came and said, I must be over the target. So Delta Sigma Theta now control multiple levels of government. I wonder if they are the organization at the center of the push for equity and CRT in our classrooms. Did DST initiate Thomas Jefferson too? Okay. So I sent a tweet. I sent a tweet and said, Scott, let's talk about this on Roland Martin Unfiltered. And so he said he would come on. So he joins us right now. So Scott, welcome to the show. You're the chair of the Loudoun County Republican Party?
Hey, Roland, how are you?
Doing great.
Yes, I am the chair.
So
thank you for very much having me on tonight. I
So,
appreciate it.
so first question, why are you so hot and bothered and concerned about Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated?
Ooh, can I give you a small background, maybe 30 seconds?
I don't care. Go ahead.
All right. So, Delta Sigma kind of came on the radar with me for...
No. It's Delta Sigma Theta. Go ahead.
Yes. You want me to say the whole thing?
Yeah, so remember, I'm in the fraternity, so there could actually be a sorority called Delta Sigma, so it's Delta Sigma Theta. But go ahead.
All right. Can I use deltas?
Yes, you can.
All right. So the deltas came on the scene, at least from my perspective, about 2 or 3 years ago when our chairperson, our county chair of the entire Loudoun County, if you know her, Phyllis Randall, it looks like you're in the D.C. area, so you might actually have
Yes, I'm based in D.C. I live in Loudoun County. I do know Phyllis Randall. Yes.
Great. So Phyllis likes to show off her Delta sign sometimes on her Twitter profiles, and it makes me curious. I'm a Socratic type thinker, and if you know what that is, it makes people ask questions more than make assumptions or make statements. So it's very important to me to be questionable of this. And so when the county chairperson throws her Delta sign up, it's very curious to see that. And then when I also see it on a Twitter profile on the White House lawn, it also a grin brings up curiosity, and I have to question, well, why is that going on, or why are these people throwing up the Delta signs? And being Greek myself, I did not have deltas at my school, so I was
What fraternity are you in?
Lambda Chi, Alpha.
And what college did you go to?
Florida Institute of Technology.
Florida Institute of Technology. Got it.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
All right, go ahead.
So Randall hires the executive director of the Deltas a couple years ago, and Janine Arnett, and she is found out by the FBI to be committing fraud at the Delta. She's resigns from the Deltas, and then she is hired by Phyllis Randall at the Loudoun County level. And this really has me curious again, like why would Phyllis Randall hire the executive director of the Deltas? And then so
who did you say the executive director was?
Gina Arnett.
You said Gina Arnett?
Janine
Arnett. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir. And then, so from there, Miss Louise Lucas, the senator of Virginia, the one that's actually the president of the Senate, has throwing up her signs with several other Deltas in both the Senate and the House of Virginia. And she says, we control this place. And the Deltas are in charge. And so you have Phyllis Randall, you have the White House lawn, you have the Senate, and even the executive director being hired at the local level. And it has me very curious, being the Socratic type thinker.
Gotcha.
So I look up the Deltas, and I realize that they're a major fraternity / sorority of the Divine Nine.
No. Let me correct you. The Deltas are a major sorority. They're not a fraternity. They're nine members of the Divine Nine. The Divine Nine represents the historically black fraternity and sororities. And Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was the first. That's what this is. I'm a life member. And so you have Omega Psi Phi, Kappa Alpha Psi, Phi Beta Sigma. You have Iotas, you have Deltas, AKAs, Zetas, and then you also have Sigma Gamma Rho. Those are the members of the Divine Nine.
Yes, sir. So what I was trying to say is the sorority is inside the Divine Nine of both fraternities and sororities.
So when you say when you hear Deltas are running this, do you know what that means?
Deltas are running this.
Do you know what that? Do you know what the phrase means?
No, I do not.
So here, let me explain to you what that means. So there's a typical phrase that we say, "Who runs the yard?" Do you know what the yard is?
Not being from your culture, no, I do not.
No, actually, it's not a question being from my culture. I'm a Texas A&M graduate. So I'm black, I'm an Alpha, Powell Macron chapter, Texas A&M University. And so the phrase is also used at PWIs, which are predominantly white institutions. But you often would hear that phrase, not just at historically black colleges, but we also use that phrase at Texas A&M. And so what it often says is that when you're a member of one of these Greek organizations, you're very proud to be a member. And so you often will say, our organization is running the yard, meaning we're the ones who typically are leading multiple organizations involved in community service, things along those lines. So that's where the phrase comes from. And so being an alpha, when you look at the historical members that we have who are alphas, Dr. King, Thurgood Marshall, when you look at people like Jesse Owens and Ralph Metcalf and Congressman Charlie Rangel, right now I can go to Capitol Hill and I can talk about Congressman Scott, Congressman Horford, Congressman Emmanuel Cleaver. I can talk about Congressman Bobby Scott. All of those are alphas. And so you hear the phrase alphas running Congress. And so it's a phrase that is used. When you talk about Delta Sigma Theta, do you understand that the Deltas comprise more than 500,000 members across the country? You're in Loudoun County. This is the eastern region. In this region alone, you have upwards of 20,000 Deltas who are here, who may be at their regional convention. And so when you say that you are curious, what it also says is that you really don't have any understanding about the historical nature of historically black fraternities and sororities and what their involvement is, not only in politics, but in communities. Isn't that also, frankly, a reflection of the lack of understanding and knowledge of the Republican Party?
No, I totally disagree with you. I think the Republican Party is a very curious party as well.
Really?
But at least,
I mean, you do know that there are, you do know, Scott, you do know there are Republican Deltas. You do know that, right?
May I at least respond to?
No, I'm asking. Are you aware that there are Republican Deltas?
Yeah, there has to be, of course.
And there are Republican Alphas, there are Republican AKAs, all the different fraternities and sororities. And so it was just curious that you were so bothered to see these group of black women throwing up their Delta sign, and each of our institutions, we have signs. I'm an Alpha, this is our sign. Omegas and Kappas have theirs. And so it was as if you were really bothered by this.
Let me ask you a question, Roland. Each of the Divine Nine, so to speak, the Deltas even, they like to be signified as Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated.
No, they're not questions. They like to be signified. When we refer to one another, we say Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Fraternity Incorporated, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. That's actually the official name. Now, for short, we may say, well, hold up, we may, one second, we may say, hold up, one second, we may say there goes an Alpha, there goes a Delta, there goes an AKA, there goes an Omega man, there goes a Sigma man. So there are different phrases that we use, but go ahead.
So if you were to look at Deltas as a corporation and they're on the White House lawn throwing up their signs, which actually you're incorrect. Actually, you're incorrect. No, hold on. Actually, you're incorrect. The Deltas. I didn't interrupt you.
Delta members. No, hold on.
I'm asking you not to interrupt me. Let me speak for a second. If the Deltas are on the White House lawn throwing up their Delta sign, and they're also incorporated, meaning they're a business of some sort with 500,000 members, and they're active and participant, wouldn't this also mean that a business has access to the federal government and has influence on the federal government?
Actually, they're not, Scott, they're not a business.
Wait, they are a business.
They're not a business. They're a 501c3.
That is a business, is it not?
Okay, but it's a nonprofit.
That's a business.
Right, but it's a nonprofit. And then but when you also say the Deltas, follow me here, Scott. When you say the Deltas were there, you do know that if you're a member of an organization and other members of your organization are at a particular place, you typically will see one another. Like, I'll give you an example, Scott. I said I'm a Texas A&M graduate. You see this ring? Guys, zoom in.
No, I cannot.
No, trust me, you'll see it in a second. You see this ring? You see this ring right here? Zoom in.
Yes, sir.
This is a Texas A&M graduate ring.
Yes, sir.
My brother has one.
I'm glad you still wear that.
No. Well, first of all, that tells you right there you know nothing about Texas A&M, because this is one of the most important symbols of Texas A&M. When my brother has one, my sister has one, my sister's husband has one, my cousin has one, my wife's sister has one. The reality is this here. When we travel anywhere around the world, Scott, when Aggies see this ring, the first thing we say to one another is, what class? When the question comes up, you instantly know that you are talking to a fellow Aggie. So what happens, Scott, if a group of Aggies were at the White House, more than likely a group of Aggies would take a picture, and the picture would be like this here. We'll be taking a picture with our Aggie ring and the Gig'em sign. That's what we do. So hold on, I'm gonna finish the question. So hold on, Scott. So you're bothered that members of an organization who come from different areas happen to be at the White House who took a picture, and you're like, ooh, this is a scary group?
No, that's not fair. I never said it was a scary group.
Well, you invoke Skull and Bones, so.
My reference to this is the fact that a single corporation like Delta's have so much control and power and influence, possibly, curiously, on the White House lawn.
But it was a photo. So what? Hold up. First of all, Scott, what power? Scott, I'm curious. What power? Hold up. What power and control do they have?
That's not fair, Roland. If I can't interrupt you, you gotta.
No. I'm asking you. What power and control do they have, to your knowledge?
I know, but you're a very respectable man, and you're very well read. I've watched you for several years now, especially on the news channels, and you're a very good, particular person about not interrupting. So, of course, I'm certainly asking you if you can do the same thing for me.
No, I'm not going to interrupt. I just want you to answer that question.
So let me finish really quick. They are a business, and they do have members, and some of those members are in large areas of the federal government / our local government. And if they didn't prescribe to showing that Delta symbol off, or didn't share that on social media quite influentially, and say that we run this place, or they run the Virginia Senate like Miss Louise does, or Miss Chairman of the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors does, I don't think I would have a problem with it. My problem is one single corporation out of the entire federal government, or the one corporation out of the entire state, says they run this joint and they also control it. And when has the last time that we've ever allowed one corporation of any sort to both show signs on the White House lawn, show their emblems on the White House lawn, or even say they run this joint in any respect to the Senate, to the White House lawn, to the Loudoun GOP or Loudoun Board of Supervisors?
Scott, do you know what sorority Vice President Kamala Harris is a member of?
Yes, Deltas.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong as hell. You, and matter of fact, what, Scott, you are so wrong that actually that's considered an insult from the AKAs. She's a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
Okay, so I got those two confused.
Okay, hold up, Scott, I'm gonna help you out with something. I want you to use this opportunity as a teachable moment.
I'll take it. Go ahead and teach me.
Scott, do you see what I'm wearing?
I do. When I saw you, I was like, maybe I should wear the same thing.
Do you see these colors?
I do.
The colors are called black and old gold. Those are the colors of Alpha Phi Alpha. If you see crimson, cream, Kappa Alpha Psi. You see red and white, Delta Sigma Theta. You see pink and green, Alpha Kappa Alpha. If you see blue and gold, Zetas. If you see blue and white, Sigma Gamma Rho or Phi Beta Sigma. If you see brown and gold, you see the Iotas, okay? So Omegas are purple, royal purple, and old gold. Those are all the colors. So we also, not only do we have names, we have colors. And one of the things that you also do, Scott, is it's insulting when you call one of us another group. So if you ever someone call me a Kappa or an Omega or a Sigma, it's frankly insulting because how we refer to ourselves as there's only one of us. And so we think we are the better of all of them. So, but what I find to be hilarious about this is that when you try to associate oh my God, they're on the White House lawn. I literally just told you, as an Aggie, same thing, photos taken. Groups take photos all the time, but you're so bothered. So is the real issue that you're bothered that Phyllis Randall, who is the head of Loudoun County, that she's a Delta and she's a proud Delta? Are you aware that you bother to do any research about the community service projects of Deltas and the Divine Nine and literally the type of things that they do in the community, not just with voter registration, not just with education, not just with literacy, but literally have been honored across the country and the world by Democrats and Republicans for their work? And so maybe, hold on, I'm not done. So maybe what you ought to do, instead of being, oh my God, they're taking over the government, maybe what you ought to do is call some of your fellow black Republicans who are members of the Divine Nine and say, hey, maybe y'all should also educate me, because maybe part of the problem is you don't know black people or enough black people, or don't understand the history of these organizations and what they mean to America, to Virginia, to Loudoun County.
So, Roland, I'm certainly an American, and I know I have plenty of friends. I go to a multicultural church, one of the very largest in Northern Virginia. You probably attend the same church I do if you do attend.
I don't.
You don't? Okay.
I don't. No, because I go to First Baptist Glen Arden in Maryland.
Oh, okay. Well, I go to one of the largest, and I certainly have a lot of friends there as well. And I don't know if it would be beneficial to be to sort of put me on an offensive when you're trying to attack me at some point.
No, I'm not attacking you. What I'm suggesting to you is maybe what you should do is actually talk to them, because they can actually help you to understand what the Divine Nine is and what Delta Sigma Theta does and what they do. Because the fact that you were just like, oh my God, because look, if you pull a photo up, I wanted to help you out with something here, Scott, because I thought this was pretty funny. So you look at the photo here. First of all, you got Melanie Campbell back here, who's the head of the Black Women's Roundtable, the National Coalition on Black Civic Participation. You got Ashley Etienne right here, who was the former head of who was the over communications director for Vice President Kamala Harris. Okay, you got Heather right here, worked in the Obama administration. You got Alencia here, used to be with Planned Parenthood also. She's worked in politics. Tasha, Congressional Black Caucus Foundation. You got see this woman, the sister right here. You really ought to get to know her, because maybe the Republican Party should get behind the Crown Act, because you had too many Republicans who voted against the bill that outlawed hair discrimination. She was the one who put the whole policy initiative together to actually fight that. You've got Lucy McBath. Of course, her son was killed. Member of Congress, she's fighting for gun control. You got Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, chair of the Congressional Black Caucus. I can go on and on and on. And so you've got a variety of black women who are very much involved in politics, social organizations, community organizations, civil rights down the line. And so, as opposed to you being so concerned and all the power they have, again, I might suggest if you reach out to the black folks you know at your church or whatever and say, hey, tell me more about what I should know about the Divine Nine, because if I know more, I have a better understanding of constituents who maybe I want to be able to talk to about policy, about issues, what they're concerned about when it comes to education. And the point is this here. You also put up here, I wonder if they are the organization at the center of the push for equity and CRT in our classrooms. Well, we already know right there that, so are you telling me, Scott, you have a problem with equity in America? You have a problem with equity?
You gonna let me speak on it for a full few sentences?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I do have a problem with equity.
And what is it?
I have a problem with, well, Thomas Jefferson, do you know it? You're in Loudoun County.
Yeah, he actually raped a black woman and he had slaves.
No,
actually he did. I mean, he was sleeping with a slave, Sally Hemings. So yeah, I'm very familiar with Thomas Jefferson.
I'm not talking about Thomas Jefferson the man. I'm talking about Thomas Jefferson.
Well, who the hell are you talking about then? You asked me, do I know Thomas Jefferson? And I told you, I know Thomas Jefferson, the man who raped a black woman named Sally Hemings, who had babies by him. Same Thomas Jefferson, right?
Roland, I would agree with you, probably the same Thomas Jefferson.
Okay, go right ahead. Go ahead.
You, sir, I know you're a very well-read man, and you own some newspapers, and you're very invested in the news. And I know you know what's happening at Thomas Jefferson High School, where they actually removed the merit-based testing program to get into Thomas Jefferson in order to allow for everybody to get into Thomas Jefferson. And I'm not one to divide people by their race or by their color, but what they did at Thomas Jefferson High School was to do just that. The school board made an altercation and an alteration to the merit-based process at Thomas Jefferson, and no longer allows Thomas Jefferson to decide children based on their merit. They're now deciding children and who gets in and who gets out based on their race. And I'm not comfortable with putting people into boxes and putting people into little categories based on the color of their skin. And
so but you didn't mention that you talked about specifically equity and CRT in our classrooms, when the reality is
yes, sir.
First of all, which is actual nonsense. So you don't have CRT, but it goes.
Nonsense? What's nonsense?
Really? What CRT? Where is CRT being taught in Loudoun County schools? Because I remember the school board meeting where literally the superintendent said that is not the case. Said it point blank, repeatedly.
And then the superintendent also wrote several emails that we are actually teaching principles of CRT in the classroom. And then the Board of Supervisors also went on private video that says we are, in fact, using the principle of CRT.
So how are you trying to blame? So how are you trying to blame deltas when you have nothing? When you say, I wonder if they are. No, you said, Scott. I'm gonna read, Scott. Hold on.
I did just do something.
Scott, I'm gonna read your comment back. You wrote, I wonder if they are the organization at the center of the push for equity and CRT in our classrooms. Why did you say that?
Well, if you know the power players in Loudoun County on the Democrat side, I think you would be aware.
No. You didn't say Democrats. You said deltas. Why did you say that about deltas?
You do read the politics of your local county, correct?
Yes, but why did you say deltas? You didn't say Democrats. You said deltas. Are all Democrats in Loudoun County deltas?
We've already declared that Phyllis Randall's a delta.
Hold on. That's one person. Who else?
It is. There are several other players, and Phyllis Randall brought the executive director into Loudoun County.
No. Phyllis Randall is one.
Right after that, she was fired for fraud.
Phyllis Randall is one person. How many other deltas in Loudoun County do you know?
Particularly, I would say 4 or 5 in the power sphere of Loudoun County.
Really? Name them.
No.
Hold up. You said you know 4 or 5. Name them.
Phyllis Randall's a public person. I'm certainly not going to name the private individual.
Okay, fine. So the other, you know 5. So 4 of the deltas you know are private. 1 is public. I'm asking you again. Why did you assign and suggest that the deltas? You say, I wonder if they are the organization. So are you saying there is an organization that is behind equity and CRT in the classrooms?
No, I'm saying I'm very curious with the question mark.
No. Hold up. Let me break it down again. You said,
go ahead.
Hold up. You said, I wonder if
That's
they.
The question.
Oh, I'm not
that
done, Scott. Hold up. You said, I wonder if they are the organization.
Yep.
Tanya and Jason, or 2 of my panelists, they're college professors.
Yes, sir.
So Tanya and Jason, if someone says if they are the organization, are they not? Scott, hold on. I'm gonna let you talk. I'm asking Jason and Tanya, since they're college professors. If someone writes, hold up, Scott. If someone writes, I wonder if they are the organization at the center of the push, Tanya and Jason, as college professors, does this not imply that there is an organization as the primary organizer in the push for equity and CRT? Jason? Scott, hold on, Scott. Hold on. Scott, I got you. Just breathe. Woosah. Jason? Scott, you mind Jason? He got a show on the Daily Caller. Conservatives love watching them. He on Fox News. Hold on, Scott. Scott, hold on. Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know that they love watching me, but I'll say this. First of all, I was frustrated if it is a question that he put a period at the end of it instead of a question mark. But as a college professor who reads papers all day, and also, as a party, he comes from a party that always talks about two genders, but he misgendered the woman by saying chairman instead of chairwoman. But yes, Roland, I agree with you with what you said. He said the organization. I wonder, and it to me, it seems like it's fear mongering. And Scott, I commend you at least for having the guts to come here, but you got to do your due diligence before you come in and you tweet something and you're going to defend it.
Hold up, Scott. Hold on, Tanya, go ahead and weigh in.
Yes. As a law professor, I'm very familiar with the Socratic method. I use it in all of my classes. The U.S. should be so lucky if deltas were taking over at every level of government. That simply isn't the case, though we have shown leadership since 1913. That's when we arrived on the scene, just for your
So Tanya, are you a Delta?
I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority.
So Scott, you just met another Delta.
Old title every time.
Tanya, go ahead.
But my point, Scott, is this to me is classic race baiting. I think what you meant to say is it looks like Black women are taking over. Because we're seeing Black women on the Supreme Court. We're seeing Black women in Congress. We're seeing Black women in the White House. That's a different observation. And I don't think it's curiosity. I think you express some concern about it. Not that you wonder whether this organization is responsible for something that you find objectionable, but why are these Black women on the White House lawn signifying their relationship to this organization? Sports teams come to the White House all the time to celebrate the Super Bowl or the World Series. We have organizations like that that are often celebrating their presence and in our nation's capital at the executive seat of government. So I don't understand why it's such a problem when it's Black women. And again, let me just reiterate my point. The U.S. would be so lucky to have Deltas running everything up and down the political gamut.
I got one more person to comment before I go back to you, Scott. Monique Presley. Scott, hold on. Monique is the daughter of a Delta.
Respond to this.
Hold on. You're going to respond, Scott. Monique is the daughter of a Delta. So you've now met the daughter of a Delta. Monique, go right ahead, please, with your comment.
Is Scott still talking? Hey, Scott.
Hello.
Monique, go ahead. Monique, go ahead.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I could be heard.
Yes, you're heard. You go ahead.
Groups got together for many years. They were members of the Ku Klux Klan, and nobody was bothered. And the Deltas do have power, as all voters have power, and surely as Black women who have built this country have power. Yes, I am the daughter of a Delta, Joyce Ann Daniel, but there are other Deltas, Barbara Jordan, Dorothy Height. There are so many who have been responsible, Jessie McGuire Dent, for the birthing of this nation. And for me, I just would hope that we would elevate the conversation and that maybe Scott would read the room and understand this is not the season for you to attack Black women because we actually got together and did something. Find another issue.
Scott, go ahead.
All right, Roland. Is it my turn now?
I said go ahead, Scott. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So at the very beginning when I was trying to interrupt you, and let me just say one thing. First, this is a fallacy almost. You're asking me to appeal to authority and listen to three people that you think that as college professors might have some authority on the issue.
No. Actually, Scott. They have authority on the use of the English language. That's how I was referring to them, but go ahead.
That is a fallacy. It's called appeal to authority. Please look it up. The second piece, the second one is I don't care to make assumptions about anything. It's always about a question. And for your second speaker, I don't remember her name. I'm very sorry.
Her name is Tanya.
Miss Tanya, for her to make assumptions about this is a white thing versus a black thing, that is totally disregarded and totally unfair. I've come on this show. I've been very nice to you. I've been very generous with my time. And I think we should have a conversation, and we should always be communicating. I, from the GOP side, should be talking to the Democrat side. And we should be talking. There should be no reason for a misunderstanding here. And I appreciate you telling me and you allowing me to represent my opinion on this show. Thank you. I'm sorry it had to be from the GOP perspective, but I do not appreciate an assumption that this is a black versus white thing, and I'm not okay with black people running things. To me, it's about being American, and I'd rather see just Americans running things.
Well, but the reality, Scott, is these are Americans.
I don't want to see a separate single organization having so much influence, whether it be at the federal level, at the state level, at the local level. And at this point, in my opinion, you've given me a lot to think about tonight.
Hey, Scott. Are you offended? Are you offended by the power that the Federalist Society has in our society?
No, I'm offended that Miss Tanya made assumptions about me.
No, Scott. I'm asking you a specific question. You talked about
on a different topic now.
Scott. You said about one organization having power. Do you object? Do you object to the Federalist Society having an undue influence on our society in the picking of federal judges and Supreme Court nominees by Republicans?
I object to any organization, even if it's a society or in general, having too much influence. If that society is called the Federalist Society, or if that society is called the KKK, like Monique decided to bring up, or that society is called the Deltas, I have offense to all three of those.
But here's the problem here. And this is the mistake that you're making. You can be the Federalist Society as an organization is very much driving conservative judicial nominees. These are individual members of Delta Sigma Theta. This is not, when you say the Deltas, let me show you this here, because this is what you actually posted. Go to my iPad, please. You tweeted, a Delta from the House of Delegates accidentally retweeted my other tweet. She says she is mission-driven. What's their mission? Now I'm really curious. PR Randall cares. Is this your mission too? So when you do your research, Scott, have you bothered to actually find out what the mission of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is?
Plenty of research, but I've not personally heard from Phyllis Randall. I've not personally heard from Louise Lewis, who's the president of the Senate of Virginia, that says she runs this house with the Deltas, that she runs. If they were a separate organization and singular, and they didn't actually say that they run this joint or run this place,
but you don't. But I explained to you what the phrase means.
This is her saying that their organization represents and runs the Virginia Senate.
Scott.
Quite different.
So what? So, 1 second, Scott. You tweeted about the mission, correct?
Yes, I did.
Allow me to educate you. Go to my iPad, please. This is the actual mission statement, Scott, of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated. It says they are a private, not-for-profit organization whose purpose is to provide assistance and support through established programs in local communities throughout the world. The sorority currently has 1,000 collegiate and alumni chapters located in the United States, Canada, Japan, Germany, the Virgin Islands, Bermuda, the Bahamas, Jamaica, West Africa, and the Republic of Korea. More than 10,000 members typically attend Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated's biennial national convention. Actually, it's more like 20 or 30,000. And each of the 7 regional conferences held during years when there is no national convention. It says that when they had their national convention in D.C., 38,000 members registered and attended. It lays out their founders, their historical timeline, Their mission is very much about womanhood. It's about community service. It's about public service. So, Scott, my point is this here. If you're so concerned about their mission, all you got to do is just Google them. So you don't have to wait till Phyllis call you. It literally says right here on their website, it took me 0.6 seconds. Purpose and mission statement of Delta Sigma Theta.
Roland, you would know this because you're part of the Alphas. May I say that? Part of the Alphas?
Yes.
Okay. The Deltas actually make all their members sign an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, about everything they learn inside the organization. The Deltas
they do?
The Deltas also...
Hold on, wait. They do?
Yeah.
Tanya, have you had to sign an NDA as a Delta where, if you ever you remember, right? Have you ever had to sign an NDA?
Absolutely not.
So, Scott, where did you get that from? Scott, where do you get that from?
I have the Delta's website.
Where? What's the link?
I don't have the link in front of me. I can send you the PDF. The NDA, they actually make the Delta sign if you would like.
It's an NDA.
You're in Loudoun. We can actually meet up.
No. You said it's an NDA. Really? I just typed in NDA in
and if one of those members steps outside,
Scott, hold on. I just typed NDA in the search box. Nothing comes up. So yeah, please tell me where that NDA is.
If a Delta steps outside these NDAs, they actually charge and fine their members between $2,000 to $5,000 and suspend them or expel them from this organization.
So why do you want to know about what Delta happens in their meetings? Like, my wife go to sorority meetings. I don't care what they talk about, and hell, I'm married to her.
I am not trying to attack Deltas. I'm simply saying that.
Actually, you did.
You know, sitting on the White House lawn.
They're members.
Giving your symbol out, but also saying from the Senate and from the Board of Supervisors and from the national level, if the Deltas control this place, I would like to know, and I would like to get past their NDA to wonder why.
First of all, Scott, you got way too much damn time on your hands. Scott, if I replaced all these black women, matter of fact, we've taken photos of a group of black Texas A&M graduates. If these were black Aggies, you would not, if these were white Texas A&M students, and guess what? I've taken similar photos, Scott, you would not be complaining. And
that's
you know
not
that.
Fair at all.
So, Scott, if we said Texas Aggies...
You are making an assumption
Scott,
that I would not care about that.
Scott,
that's not fair.
You would be bothered if a group of Texas A&M or University of North Carolina graduates took a photo together and they said, calling all Tar Heels, calling all Aggies, calling all Mustangs to the floor. You would be bothered.
You're making an assumption. This all starts with Phyllis Randall hiring the executive director.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
I'm telling you exactly what it starts
Phyllis Randall not even in this photo. You comment on this photo.
Wait. This is about local politics first.
No, it's not. This is the White House. This ain't local. This is the White House.
You know all those people, and you live in Loudoun County.
In fact, not a single one of these folks live in Loudoun County. Why do you care?
Roland, I'm trying to tell you.
No, you comment on this photo, Scott. Why do you care if not a single one of these women live in Loudoun County? Why do you care?
And there have been other photos where Phyllis Randall is throwing up her Delta sign.
And she's a member.
And her hiring the executive director, who then gets found on fraud of embezzling over $200,000 or somewhere in those lines from the Deltas, there's a real problem with that. I can't hear you. You're muted. I can't hear you. Okay.
So here's the deal. She hired somebody. Okay. But again, you're not discussing Phyllis Randall, and I'll actually have her on the show tomorrow. You.
Really?
No, you. Oh, hell yes. 'Cause I tweeted you. Hell, I tweeted her. But here's the deal, Scott. Scott, hold on, Scott. Scott, this issue is not about Phyllis Randle. Scott, this isn't about Phyllis. You, Scott, are criticizing these deltas. You're criticizing the national organization. That's what you're doing. So game recognized game, Scott. So let's stop sit here and joke.
At 7:15, I explained to you, I gave you the background story of where it came from. And the very beginning of that background story started with the executive director and Phyllis Randle of embezzlement.
No. First of all, hold on. Phyllis Randle did not embezzle anything.
No, she did not, but her executive director did.
I want to make sure you're on record by saying that. The bottom line is this here, Scott.
Without a doubt, it is not Phyllis Randle.
Scott, this is very simple, Scott. This is very simple. What you ought to do, and just go to your big church, go talk to some of your black friends who might be in the Divine Nine for you to get a better understanding of who we are and what we do. But I will tell you this, Scott, be real careful. Because when you talk about the power of deltas, I've seen a 500, 1,000 show up. I'm sure you wouldn't mind seeing 1,000 of them roll up on the Virginia Loudoun County GOP office to have a polite tea and conversation.
I wouldn't mind that at all. You know what? I would actually appreciate that because it would allow me to be able to talk to them, communicate with them, have a conversation, something real and raw.
Well,
I would not mind that.
My suggestion, you call your black Republican deltas first to have a conversation.
If Phyllis Randle decides to show up too, I would love to have this conversation.
No. You call your black Republican deltas first because you need to have a conversation with your black Republican deltas before you talk to the other ones because I don't know, Scott, if you can handle those sisters. Scott, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Maybe
Can I give a last word?
Yeah.
Can I give a last word?
Well, actually, I always get the last word, but you can go ahead and make your final comment. Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you for having me on, Roland. And I really appreciate the conversation. I really appreciate you being raw and real with me tonight. And I think we should have more of this discussion and discourse. And if you're ever interested in inviting me on again, I would be lovely, and I would love to have come on the show.
Love to have you on. Too many of your fellow Republicans are afraid to come on this show because they no. I'm just telling you, a lot of your fellow Republicans are afraid to come on here because they can't handle the tough questions. They love the comfortable environments, and I don't mean white Republicans because Senator Tim Scott, he's scared to come over here too. But the reality is, this ain't Fox News, and so I don't play softball. But Scott, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Have a wonderful night.
Tanya, Monique, and Jason. Just y'all thoughts on all that. I'm gonna go ahead and Tanya, you a Delta, so you first.
Scott just has misplaced concerns. And you don't get to make indictments using questions that end with periods. So hopefully Scott will get clear about what his issues are. And I think he will be more careful about commenting on large groups of Black women in spaces he doesn't expect them to be.
Jason, go ahead.
Well, first of all, I want to take this opportunity to give a shout out to my grandmother, Mildred Nichols, who is a Delta and from Hamilton, Virginia, which is in Loudoun County. So I want to give a shout out to her. But, you know, he wasn't ready. You know what I mean? He wasn't ready. He didn't do his due diligence. He didn't know what he was talking about. I respect the fact that he came on and that he's willing to come back. I mean, I'm all about, talking over those lines. But if you're going to do that, you have to actually know about the organization that you're talking about. And he obviously knew absolutely nothing and made himself look not great. Because he didn't know simple things that you were pointing out and asking him. But yeah, I mean, it didn't look good for him. And also, the grammatical mistakes. I know it's a tweet and not a term paper, but you're going to say it's a question, put a question mark.
Monique.
Yeah, I'm upset, frankly, that he referred to the Deltas joining on the South Lawn in really a sacred space that we built, and calling the pyramid a gang sign, basically, like they were throwing up gang symbols. It angers me on behalf of my mother, who's still alive, on behalf of her mother, on behalf of all of the founders of the local chapter that Jesse McGuire Dent founded in Galveston County, Texas, of the chapter of Barbara Jordan, of all of the women who raised me, frankly, and I hold all of the Greek institutions in the same regard without being a member, because me being a descendant really, to me, is almost stronger, because I was raised all my years by a Delta. And I think that it's necessary for him to have some respect and to put some respect on their names. And I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed by the whole conversation. He came into something he had no idea what it was, and I hope that the exit that he got today, which he deserved, which his bottom should be red. Maybe it's so hard that it can't be, but I hope he'll think about it before he comes back again.
All right, then. All right, y'all. I'm going to a break. We come back, our Tech Talk segment. Again, let's say you're shopping and you're like, man, I want to know what's the better price for some apples and some fruit and meat and some cereal, whatever. Well, this brother has an app that helps you do that. Telling you like, man, I need to go ahead and download that app right now. I see you right now. All right, y'all, we'll be right back on Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
On the next A Balanced Life, the Bible says that the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. After 2 years of hunkering down, we can all relate to that. Spring, sun, and fun. We may be ready to get out there, but our bodies may not be ready to party. On the next A Balanced Life, we're going to get our mind, body, and spirit on the same page. That's A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here on the Black Star Network.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, you'll learn how wealth begins at home and how it can set the right path and the right course.
Wealth building, specifically in the Black community, is about making sure that we have assets that can last beyond our lifetime.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
All right, fam, so you're out there shopping, whether it's gas, I know how it is. Like I pull my app up and I'm gonna wanna find a gas station and cheaper prices. But what about food? What about groceries? When we look at the pricing out here, we look at what's going on, folks are like, man, I'm trying to get a better deal. Well, this brother has come up with an app that allows for you to be able to actually do that. It is called Ziscuit. That's right, Ziscuit. It finds all of the deals near you with just a 3-step process. Mark Anthony Peterson, the founder of the world's first grocery search engine, Ziscuit, joins us from Atlanta. Glad to have you on the show, Mark. So how did you start this? Were you like trying to find something and you couldn't, and you were mad as hell, and you went to one place that was too damn high? What happened?
Yeah, something like that. I grew up in Selma, Alabama. Parents were from Linden, Alabama, and we were unfortunately in a food desert. And when you're in a food desert situation, you don't have the options, you don't have the pricing, the nutritional diversity that you need to sustain a good, healthy life. And I think that kind of stuck in my bones, became a part of my DNA. So when I got to college, I started a grocery store, and then that continued to follow me forward as I wanted to solve the problem, the growing problem of food deserts and food insecurity that plague this country. 1 in 5 Black households is food insecure. The number of people who were food insecure last year was 35 million. There's 49 million people who are food insecure today. So after wrapping up my last startup and selling that, I put my energy towards building what I believe is the right platform to finally take the fight to these major problems that our country is facing.
So how does it work? How take us through it? How does it work?
So the company's being built in 3 phases. Ultimately, when we're done with the 3 phases, we'll have a grocery auction platform that allows you to post your list in grocery stores to bid on it. We're rolling it out in phases. So the first phase is a grocery search engine that allows you to get 2 big benefits: time savings and financial savings.
So is it live right now?
We do have it operating live in a couple of zip codes in Atlanta, and we're going to be launching in Birmingham in June. We just wrapped up.
So what do? Do you put in the product and then it scans the different stores in the area and tells you which one?
Absolutely. So you create your shopping list like you would on any other platform. You configure how you want to shop, how many miles from your house, how many stops you want to make, and what types of stores you want to be included in the search, and then you hit go. We come back with 15 different options of ways that you can save anywhere from $5 to $15 per shopping experience. And so that makes it very easy for these cost-conscious shoppers who today, based on our research, are spending 2+ hours clipping coupons, looking at flyers. My late mother would spend 3 hours every weekend trying to figure out all the stores she was going to go to in order to try to put more food on our plates. And she never could quite succeed at doing that. So we're going to shortcut that time, and then we're going to give you more savings than you're able to get on your own. On average, people are saving about 24 cents per shopping experience. Using our platform, you're going to get anywhere from $5 to $15. But here's what I really love about what we're doing. We're going to pay people to use our platform by allowing you to take surveys, answer 5 to 7 questions, and we'll pay you $5 for answering those questions. And we'll put that in a piggy bank so that you can download it and use it on a Ziscuit card. Because food insecurity starts with the lack of liquidity. And if I can give you enough money to get some gas, to pay that copay on your medicine, to make it to the end of the month when your check shows up, then we can break the doom loop that has people not buying the food that can actually make you healthy.
Questions for my panel? Let's see here. Tanya's already like, ooh, I like this. Tanya, go ahead. You're on mute. You're on mute. There you go. Now we hear you. Go ahead. Now we got you.
I'm going to download this immediately. This is brilliant. An example of doing good and doing well. I'm wondering if you will also be able to capture data that confirms where these food deserts are, because you said you could put in a certain distance that you would like to be able to travel, but for those in many communities that don't have access to public transportation, or the stores aren't located in their communities where the products and services they need are provided, it seems like this technology will also allow us to develop the database to show exactly where these food deserts are.
Oh, you've nailed it. And here's what we're gonna do to address your question. As part of our rollout, we're working with organizations like University of Alabama in Birmingham to identify not only where the food deserts are, but we want to deploy food lockers in those places where we can have the cheapest groceries delivered within walking distance of the people who need it the most. The problem with putting a traditional grocery store in a food desert is that the economics don't work in favor of the grocery store, so they quickly close down, removing that option from those citizens.
And hold, put a pin in that, because I need people to understand. Grocery stores, people, have a 2% profit margin.
Exactly.
That's the profit margin. And so what he's saying is that, look, I'm not assessing it, but the reality is I talked to independent grocery store owners in Chicago who talked about theft, who talked about things along those lines. Look, when your profit margin is 2%, it's a little hard to make money when the profit margin is 2%. Not 20, y'all, 2. Go ahead.
That's exactly right. When it's 2%, it's very hard to make money. And part of the problem with that 2% is that there's a lot of food waste. They have to over-procure because they don't know who's coming through the door day after day. They have to end up throwing away a lot of food, and that hits the bottom line. With our platform, we'll be able to aggregate a shopper demand in the community, help grocery stores better procure, And then by having these food lockers, we'll have a low-cost infrastructure that brings the food to the people who need it the most. Now, that's going to produce a lot of downstream benefits. For those of you who follow the automotive industry, when they started having just-in-time delivery of auto parts, imagine a world where we have just-in-time delivery of grocery items to food lockers, the amount of waste, the amount of cost that we can pull out of the industry, and we want that benefit to accrue to people who need it the most, a lot of folks who are in food deserts. So our mission is big, and we're starting and trying to move in phases. First with that grocery search engine to give people a roadmap to where the cheapest items are, then opening up the auction, and our auction solution allows you to name your price. Now, what you give up in naming your price for your groceries is that the grocery store gets to pick your brands. That helps them make money, and it helps you get more food. And then finally, we'll put these food lockers in underserved communities, and that'll give us the final piece to the puzzle to start changing how we live, eat, and survive in America. Because I don't want another kid to be in the situation I was in, going back and putting food on the shelf that my mother could not afford. If we put this kind of technology in the ground, it's going to change all of that.
Jason.
Thank you.
So, first of all, this is amazing. I agree with my colleague from Georgia State. I wanted to ask, are there any plans to go national? And the other question that I had is there an opportunity to promote healthy eating and healthy foods through this app? Because we're talking about, people who live in food deserts, working class people. Of course, we know cheaper foods are oftentimes processed and not as healthy. Is there a way to promote through this app healthy eating and healthy habits that can keep African American people and working class people in general healthier?
That's a great question, and we have three ways that we're going to try to do that. First of all, a previous question around the data. As we collect information on our shoppers, we can make suggestions to them in our platform of foods and ingredients that can help make food into medicine. So if you got diabetes, you have high blood pressure, we want to be recommending foods that are going to be complementary to your medicine to get you back in the place where you need to be. Second, we're working with organizations like UAB, one of the leading medical facilities in the country. By the way, they do more kidney transplants for African Americans than any other facility in the world. They have a health group, Lives Health Smart group, that runs mobile markets in the Birmingham area. They also generate a lot of these recipes that we're talking about that turn food into medicine. So we're going to infuse that into our platform through what we call our recipe marketplace. So on our platform that's coming out in June, you can store your recipes or you can publish your recipes on our platform. And when you publish them, if someone else uploads them into their account, we are going to give you a Ziscuit dollar that you can cash in for real money. That helps promote and kind of gamify the use of healthy recipes and spreads it, and it turns people who are good cooks into immediate entrepreneurs who can monetize their recipes on our platform. So, and our final thing we're going to do is every year during the basketball season in March, we're going to have our own March Madness of recipes, 64 entries that compete against each other for the top spot. And all of these are going to be healthy recipes that are aimed at solving the biggest ailments that afflict the Black community: diabetes, heart problems, and high blood pressure. All of those recipes get to compete for the title of top Ziscuit recipe. So that's what we're trying to do, a data solution that automatically promotes good eating on the app, the use of experts and chefs and UAB knowledge, and then finally, gamifying the whole platform to give entrepreneurs and the community a way to make this part of your everyday living.
Monique.
Hi, sure. My question is whether there's an opportunity for entrepreneurship here, because there are a large percentage of people who, no matter what the opportunity is, and I applaud you for the manner in which you're trying to bring access to more, who still will not be able to because of lack of Wi-Fi, lack of transportation, lack of resources. And I was talking to Dr. Ravinia Brock, earlier today on my show, and one of the things that she suggested as an answer to food deserts is that we access community, where one person may have a car, may have some extra money, may have a way to get from point A to point B, and then enables others to have access through the one person. Can that be done, including your app in it, where like not everybody is using it, but one is using it for 20 and two are using it for 40, and et cetera?
That's a phenomenal question, and the answer to that is yes, and we have that baked into our roadmap. So in one instance, the early incarnations of our platform are set up to give shoppers the cheapest option available, and that today is pick up at the store. So when you use our search engine, it's leaning towards letting you pick up at the store. In phase 2, we do plan to introduce, as you mentioned, crowdsourced delivery. So individuals in areas where people are underserved can be part of our crowdsourced team that'll get paid to take groceries to people who don't have reasonable transportation options. The third thing, and I'm applying for a grant for this right now, is these food lockers can be dual purpose. Not only can they function as a pickup point for your groceries, but they can be embedded with Wi-Fi. And if you put WiMax or YBro into these food locker locations, they now can provide free internet for people who are underserved as well. So imagine a food locker goes in and for a 10-mile radius, you have free internet. That reduces your utilities by $200 to $300 per month because you get free phone, free TV, and free internet, and it changes your school districts because now schools can have books online as opposed to spending for paper. So we're looking at this as, like you said, a Rubik's Cube of entrepreneurial opportunities, and I want to drive this back into our own communities and give everybody a chance to bring their creative juices into this and turn it into a new way for us to not just survive, to thrive in this tech space.
Amen. Amen. I love that. Thank you.
All right. Mark Anthony Peterson, we appreciate it, man. Thanks a bunch. Good luck with your app.
Thank you so much. And if people want to go and pre-enroll, please go to Ziscuit.shop. That's our web app. We'll be rolling out a mobile app at the end of the year.
All right. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much. All right, folks. See, now y'all understand why we do what we do. All right. On tomorrow's show, we're going to talk about some of the Greek areas on the campus of Howard University being vandalized. And so we'll talk about that. Also, the Howard University president, Wayne Frederick, has announced he is retiring by 2024. And of course, this is the final year for the president of Hampton University as well. And so we'll be talking about all of that tomorrow. Plus, Joe Madison is on the show, joining me in studio, talking about his new book, y'all. It's going to be a fantastic show tomorrow. Let me thank Jason. Let me thank Tanya. Let me thank Monique. I appreciate that. And so, y'all see why we do what we do. Thank you to all of y'all who support us and what we do. I see you. Go ahead. Now, come on, direct. Anthony, you got to be quicker, man. What you doing? Tanya threw the Delta sign up. You missed it. Oh, see, you wasn't paying attention. You got to be. I saw you. Your chair. No, your problem was your chair was pushed all the way back. You wasn't up on the switcher. Yeah. I see every damn thing. All right, y'all. That's it. I appreciate it. I'm gonna do this here. Again, a bunch of y'all have given. I'm going to read some more of these tomorrow. Thank you so very much. Don't forget, download the Black Star Network app. See, y'all see where y'all got to watch this show? You never know what the hell we're going to talk about. The app is, of course, Black Star Network. Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Y'all want to support us? Give to our Bring the Funk fan club. We're asking 20,000 of our donors every year to give at least $50, $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. You can do so. Check a money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is roland@rolandsmartin.com. roland@rolandmartinunfiltered.com. That's it, folks. I think Scott learned his lesson. Leave them Delta women alone. See, Scott, they gonna hit you with that. They gonna hit you one of them steps and just stomp on.
Check, 1, 2.
Virginia
1, 2.
VOP. Leave them alone,
Check,
player.
check.
I'm trying to help you out. Let me help you. Leave them Delta women alone. Trust me, they will show up en masse. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Shout out to all the alphas. And tomorrow, I'm gonna be rocking the Kansas City Monarch shirt. Remember, April 15th is Jackie Robinson Day. I'll be wearing his Dodgers jersey on Friday's show. I'm wearing his Negro Leagues jersey, actually Satchel Pages. But the Kansas City Monarchs jersey tomorrow, right here on Roland Martin Unfiltered. Until then, ho!